What is good, everybody? It's Carson Craning back at it again with another YouTube video, and today we're going to be talking about some very recent news, and that is Pharrell Williams has been appointed creative director of Louis Vuitton. As a lot of people are left wondering, why is the guy who did the Minions soundtrack now the creative director of Louis Vuitton? We're going to go over it today, and I'm actually going to tell you why Pharrell Williams actually makes a great choice as the director of Louis Vuitton. First and foremost, there's been a lot of different criticism from the fashion community. For example, a lot of people were hoping that a more traditional designer like Martine Rose would fill that role, and while I agree Martine Rose would have been a great fit, Pharrell also makes sense. But a lot of the criticism Pharrell is getting is that he didn't go to design school. A phrase I keep hearing over and over again is, does Pharrell Williams even know how to sew? And while I understand the sentiment, it shouldn't really matter. And if not he does not know how to sew, does not mean he's going to be a good creative director. Take Issey Miyake, for example. He's known to be one of the best designers of all time. But what a lot of people don't know is that he himself did not know how to sew or cut a pattern. But Issey Miyake was great at sketching and a lot of other skills that led him to become one of the greatest designers of all time. You don't need to necessarily know how to sew or cut a pattern to be a great creative director at a fashion company like Louis Vuitton. For example, there was a lot of similar criticism when Virgil Abloh was coming to Louis Vuitton as people questioned his ability to design clothes. What you guys have to remember is the role of creative director is not necessarily about being able to sew every individual garment. Being a creative director only requires you to have a vision and be able to execute that vision efficiently. Pharrell did not take the role of pattern cutter at Louis Vuitton. Instead, he was hired as a creative director. And with the great team that's already at Louis Vuitton, he'll be able to create good garments as there are amazing pattern cutters, people who are masters at sewing, and so on and so forth. The role of creative director is being a creative leader. The job is to be a leader, not necessarily to be able to sew a garment. The other thing about Pharrell Williams is people don't seem to understand how culturally significant he is as a person. Like, people today sort of know him as, again, the Minions movie guy, or that he's on The Voice, or all these other things that don't seem to align with fashion. But what people don't understand is that he is the individual who paved the way for fashion and streetwear in the US especially. And he was the person who bridged the gap between the United States and Japan when it comes to streetwear. A little bit about Pharrell for those who don't know and understand why he is so legendary. He was a hip-hop producer in the late 90s and early 2000s, and besides being known as a great musician and having amazing beats, he was super well known for his style. And he was really one of the first people in hip-hop to be known for their streetwear or fashion. And he's pretty much credited for being the one to bring over Bape to the United States. He was one of the first celebrities to be bringing over Japanese fashion to the United States and popularizing it. And he was most certainly the first hip-hop figure to be known for their style. And he was paving the way even before Kanye. Right before Kanye was known for his style or interested in fashion, Kanye was being inspired by Pharrell. There's an amazing clip from the Kanye documentary, and you see that Kanye comes up to Pharrell and kind of big bros him in a way. Like, he comes up to Pharrell and says, "Bro, I look up to you so much, your style, your music, everything." And it just shows how much of Kanye himself was influenced by Pharrell. And Pharrell's style has been amazing over the years. It's always been great. He's always evolving and having really amazing styling choices. But besides just being great at having his own personal style and influencing others, he also has had a successful streetwear brand. Like his Louis Vuitton predecessor, Virgil Abloh, who had Off-White, Pharrell Williams had his own brand, Billionaires Boys Club. Now, BBC, or Billionaires Boys Club, was founded 20 years ago in 2003, and it was founded by Pharrell Williams and Nigo. A lot of people are super young and don't really know how big this brand was, but you have to understand that this is one of the biggest streetwear brands of all time. If I had to guess, it's probably been more successful and brought in more profits than brands like Vuitton. So Pharrell Williams definitely knows how to run a fashion company. Besides that, he's also already worked with Louis Vuitton before. He released a couple of collaborations with him in the mid-2000s. And this is almost 15 years ago, but he's known for having one of the most successful pairs of sunglasses at Louis Vuitton. So he not only has history of running his own brand, but also collaborating with high fashion brands and being able to launch highly successful products. It's just been 15 years since he's kind of done these things. In recent years, Pharrell has moved on, and the way Pharrell has positioned himself in recent years is trying to escape being the greatest hip-hop producer of all time to being one of the greatest producers in general of all time. He's also focused a lot more on skincare and other well-being products. His company Human Race has been very successful. If you don't know what Human Race is, it's a skincare kind of wellness product company. And that's where most of his attention has been for the past 10 years or so. And that company has been hugely successful. If there's one thing you have to understand about Pharrell Williams, is that he becomes a master and is great at whatever he does. When Pharrell Williams entered the skincare industry, a lot of people said, he doesn't know anything about skincare. Why would I buy his products? But his products are really great, honestly, when it comes to skincare. Pharrell Williams is not somebody who half-asses something. All of his projects he's been involved with have been amazing, even though they are a broad array of projects. You see, Pharrell Williams is part of a different type of artist. A lot of times when we think of artists, we think at someone who's really great at one particular skill. And while it's great to be an amazing guitar player or really good at painting or something of the sorts, we also have to remember that there are other artists who are orchestrators, or curators, or masters of procurement. Oftentimes, the best artists aren't known for having one really great specific skill, but instead they are known for uniting different individuals who are great at specific skills and putting them under one vision to create something greater. These are curators, these are composers. Think of Beethoven or Mozart. They might not have been the greatest at playing every single one of those instruments, but their ability to organize and understand what is best at the right time and who is best to do it is what made them the best artists. A more contemporary example might be Westside Gunn. Westside Gunn isn't necessarily the best rapper in the game. He isn't known to be the best lyricist, and he isn't best known for his flows. He also doesn't happen to be the best producer in the game, but what he is a curator. He's able to find the best in each of those fields and put them together under one vision. And that one vision that he has and his ability to organize creates something way better than any of those other people would have been able to do individually. An artistic skill that we don't talk about a lot is being a leader and an organizer. Westside Gunn has totally been able to revive a whole subgenre of rap, and he's introduced a new generation to appreciate the more classical boom bap style of rap. The same could even be said about Kanye. For the second half of Kanye's career, he was known more as a curator and putting people together than more of like a master at one specific thing. And the same could really be said about Louis Vuitton's last creative director, Virgil Abloh. Most of what made Virgil Abloh great was his vision and his ability to organize people to execute his vision. We need to realize that there's a broad amount of people with a broad amount of skills who could be successful as an artist. And sometimes it's not even the hard skills that matter. It's the soft skills like the ability to organize, inspire, and lead other people. So when it comes to how Pharrell will do at Louis Vuitton, we won't know until the first collection. But until then, I'm confident that he would be a great director there. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Have a great day. My name is Karsten Craning. Please subscribe, like, and thank you so much.